missed my intro, this is DSC at UW's React.js workshop. Mr. Arsalan will be the main lecturer today. He's going to talk about some React.js logistics, and as a GitHub Campus Expert, he's going to talk about something like for that as well. We'll just wait a little bit more and then we can start. All right. Yeah. Cool. We have some people back to the call. I think you can start now if you want, Arsalan. Whenever you're ready, stage is yours.
Sure, just give me a second. Let me open my slides.
No problem. Welcome. We're just getting started.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, I can see your screen. Can everybody see Arsalan's screen share? Okay. Can say something in the chat.
All right, let's start the event. So this is about React.js. So I will be talking about the basics of React.js, what exactly is React.js, why is it useful, why you should use it, and some of the basics of React.js. So by the end of this session, you will be comfortable using React.js and you will be able to make some basic apps with React.js. So with the first further wasting any more time, let's start it. So before we do that, let me introduce myself. So I am Arsalan. I am a former MLH Fellow, and at this moment I am working at MLH as a junior team lead. I am a GitHub Campus Expert. By profession, I am a full stack web developer. So my stack is Munstack, which means that I work on Node.js and React.js. Apart from that, I am also a DSC lead from my university, and now I am also a Gold Microsoft Student Ambassador. If you want to connect with me, my handle on almost every single social media app is HatakDev. So if you want, you can connect with me. My portfolio on my website is also hatak.dev. So yep, if anyone is interested, just send me a request on LinkedIn and we can connect. So starting with the agenda, so in this session we will talk about what exactly is React.js, why React.js, and then we will talk about how to make a basic project, which will be a hello world project, and then what are the class components and functional components, what are the event listeners and how you can make an event listener in React.js, what are states and props, and then we will wrap up the session with questions. So the things that I mentioned here, like class components, functional components, event listener, states, and props. So these are the basic building blocks of React.js. So in order to work with React.js, these are the essential things that you need to understand. So once you understand these, you will be able to work with React.js and you will be able to make your own apps in React. So what is React.js? So React is a JavaScript library that was built by Facebook. So it helps in building user interface. So it is a front-end library and it is an open source. So if you want, you can dig into the code and you can see the backend, what's going on behind the scene of this amazing project. And it is available on GitHub, so you can just go to Facebook organization on GitHub and you can search for React.js. And it has like reusable components. So if you don't know what is the reusable component, so once I get into the practical, like once I start, once I change my screen to once I move to the VS Code, so I will show you what exactly is reusable components. But just to give you the idea, so reusable components are the components that you just create once, and then you can use it everywhere, wherever you want. So that is one of the features that React.js provides. So why React.js? So again, one of the basic and one of the most useful feature is that it is reusable. So once you create one component and then you can use that anywhere. So an example of that component is a button. So every website has like this specific theme, specific template where all the buttons looks like same, right? So once you make a component for that button, you can use that everywhere. So you just need to add the styles and HTML just once, and then it will be, and you will be able to use that everywhere. So you don't need to write that CSS every single time you want to use that. So that is what I mean by reusable. Unidirectional means that it has this relation that so you have one component and then you have another component inside that, and then you have another component inside that. So it's like nested component. So the flow of the apps, the flow of the all the states and properties are unidirectional, which means that it goes into the nested components area. So it has like this parent and child relationship, and all the data and all the props and states flow from towards the nested component. So that is unidirectional. And the last but not least is high performance. So when you are working with the normal JavaScript apps, one of the issue is that when you want to change something in the HTML, your JavaScript needs to look up for the DOM content, look up for the HTML content, and that takes some time. So whenever you want to change something, JavaScript needs to look up in the DOM in the HTML and search for that specific node, like that specific. For example, if you want to change a heading, so JavaScript will search for that heading and then that will change. So that is time consuming. So React.js does not actually do that. React.js has a different method to change that. Eventually, it also changed the things in DOM, but it uses some other. It has like some kind of complex method to change that. So I will not go into that. If you are curious about that, so you can search on Google about virtual DOM, which is a copy of that DOM. So with the help of which React.js is much faster than using the normal JavaScript. So I will not talk about that, how exactly it does that. But if you are curious about that, you can just search on Google about what is virtual DOM and how React changed the DOM content. So you will get an idea of how it works. So now we know about what is React.js and why React.js. So the next thing to do is that let's create a Hello World project in React.js. So making project in React.js is quite simple. You just need one thing to be installed in your system, and that is Node.js. If you don't know about Node.js, so Node.js is a JavaScript runtime environment which you can use to execute your JavaScript behind the scene. I will share the link in Reed's chat. So it is nodejs.org. So you can go there and download it for whatever OS you are using and just install it. So once you install your Node.js, Node.js comes up with another package, another amazing software, which is NPM. So NPM is a package manager. So NPM is like a library for all the amazing projects of JavaScript. So it consists of like it is a package manager where you can look up for any project, any specific technology that you want to search for. So for example, if you are working with dates in JavaScript, the time, and you don't want to create your own functions, you can just go to npm and search for some date related project, and you can install that in your project and then use that. So React.js is also available in the npm package, and for that, to fetch that, there is another package provided by Facebook that is known as Create React App, which gives you a template, a basic template that you can work on. So so this is the command that we are going to use in our terminal. And what this command will do is that it will try to install a basic template. It will add a basic template. It will download that basic template from the cloud server and make a folder with the name node.to.do.js. And inside that folder, it will install some files and create some files, and also install some packages. So npx is a command that we use to install these. So npx is a command, create react app is the package name, and then to.do.js is the folder name. So the third name, which is the to.do.js, you can change that. You can change that to whatever name you want to use. So you can go with just to-do or just JS or whatever name you prefer. So let's try to install this. So let me open my terminal, and then let me show you how we can do that. So let me zoom in my screen now. So I am on my desktop. So what I need to do is that I need to type npx space react app and then the name. So I can just go with to do. So it will take up some time because it is downloading some files and some packages from the server. So that will take a few seconds, sometimes a few minutes, depending on how good your internet connection is. And then it will fetch some files for you and install them. Meanwhile, I can show you, I can talk about Node.js and how you can install that. So this is Node.js website. You can just go here and you can download it for yourself. And just so it has this auto installer. So you just need to click on next, and that will install that. And there's this other thing which is known as npm.js, which I just talked about. So right now, this command npx create react app, what that is doing is that it is fetching the files for the next.js from the server of this npm. So if I can show you here, so this is a package that we just use to fetch the React.js files and install that in our to-do file. So this is the package, and you can see here getting started guide, and we also have the React.js as well here. So we have. So this is the file which is also available here. So if you don't want to go with this method, this template method, if you want to make everything custom, so you can go with this installing each and every package manually. So in that case, you need to do npm space install space react, or npm I install I and space react. So I stands for install. So that will install React package in your folder. And this is the guide for create React app. So this is how you can do that. So npx create React app, my app, and that will create this my app folder for you, where you can move, and then you can start the local server using npm start. So that is how you can do this. Let me see this. So it will still take some time. So let's wait for this. And if you have any question, please feel free to put that in the chat section. So I am while showing you how you will do this, I'm also monitoring the chat section. So if you have any question, please do ask that in the chat section. This will take some time because the packages are like quite a lot. And also when you're installing this custom, right, without using create React app, you need to install React, you need to install React DOM, and you need to install React scripts. So these are like, you have to install multiple packages in order to use React. So it's not just React, but you have to use all these packages. Okay, so since this is installing, I am going to talk about a little bit about GitHub Student Pack. So we have this amazing student pack for the students that is provided by GitHub. So if you are not sure, if you have never heard about GitHub Student Pack, you need to know this. So GitHub is providing you a lot of resources for free, which was for more than 10,000 USD. So what you need to do is that you just need to visit this website, which is this education.github.com/pack, and you can get this pack, which contains like a lot of free resources, including front-end master course, data camp, educative.io, 6 months of course, free Unity premium until you're a student, and a lot of new things. So you please visit that and get your GitHub Student Pack today. So this is this question. So do we have to fetch it each and every time? When you are going to start a new project, you need to create a new folder and you need to install the packages again. So you need to fetch it when you are creating a new project. Once you fetch this, while you are working on this project, you don't need to fetch this again. So it will be these packages needs to be installed just once. But in the future, if you want to add something new to this package, to this project, for example, you need some form validation. For that, you need to install another package. So let's see if for example, we want to add a form validation. So let's see what how many packages we have here. So you can just search for some form validation package, and then you will see a lot of forms. So this format is quite famous one, and you can use that for React, and it is also built for React. So you can see here, build forms in React. So for example, if in future you have forms and you want to have validation and you don't want to have them custom, so you can just install a package, and for example, in our case, you can install this formic, which is npm space I space formic. So that will install this for you, and then you can work with that. So the basic thing, like the npx create React app, that needs to be used just once, so that will fetch the files. But if you want to install more packages, you will need to install those packages again. But that is just one-time installation. For some reason, it is taking a lot of time. Let me try to open a new terminal and try installing it again. If anyone wants, they can also go and install this themselves. So just go and download the Node.js for yourself, install that, and then use this npm space create React app space the folder name, and that will do the instructions for you. And if you face any kind of issues, please post that in the chat section. Okay, this one worked, but the last one is still stuck. And now this one also looks like it's also stuck. Let me see if I can find another project that I already have, so that we don't need to wait for this. Looks like I need to find another project because for some reason it is not downloading the other files from the server. So also the npx was recently updated. This create app was recently updated. So maybe it has some issues, but normally it works fine when you download it, and it doesn't take that much long. So let me see if I can find another project that I have already installed, and we can start working with that. For me, it is 10 p.m. So I'm trying to download a GitHub package from React starter template from GitHub, which I already downloaded, and I'm trying to install the npm packages now. So if that works, we will switch to that. And hopefully that will work. So I will close this one because this is stuck. Okay, so I again started this npx create react app, and this time it worked. So you can see it created all these, it downloaded all these packages. So I will close this one. I don't need you anymore. And yeah, you can see it here. So it created downloaded all these packages, and now you can see success created PCK. So this PCK was the folder name that I came up with. And yeah, these are the instructions. So yeah, start the development server and all the instructions. So I'm going to open this in my VS Code, and then we will move on. So to do that, if you don't know how to open this in VS Code, you just need to do code space the folder name, and that will open it up in VS Code. So now we have installed the basic package. So now what you need to do is that you need to do type npm start in that package, and that will start the development server. So to do that, let me open my VS Code, and it is here. So now what I need to do is that I need to open my terminal inside this folder, and then just type npm start. So that will start the development server. So and once we start that, we will see how it looks, and then we will move on to see what each of the file does that already exists there. So we will explore that there. And this will start in a second. So meanwhile, and yeah, it started. So yep. So now this is the basic React template that we just got. So this is now a React.js application. Now let's move back. Let's get back to the VS Code, and let's see what each file does there. Oops. Let me zoom in a little bit. And yeah, so we have these folders. So the first one is node modules, which has all the modules, which has all the npm packages like React DOM, React scripts, and like formik, and all those validation and all those packages. And then we have the public, which exists, which contains the index.html. So you never need to change this index.html. We have this fav icon, some logos, and this manifest.js here, and then the robots.txt. So we don't normally make some changes here. The file where we need to make changes is the source file. I will get back to this source file, but apart from that, we have this git ignore, which is a file for GitHub. For Git, which checks for the files which don't need to be uploaded. So this node module is actually a pretty large file. So we need to ignore that so that it does not go to the cloud. And then we have the package.json, which contain the details about the npm packages. So the project name is pck. This is other dependency that we just install, which is these testing libraries, React DOM, web writers. These are the scripts that we will be using. So we just use start. So npm start redirects to this script, which is creates dash script dash start. And we have all these other scripts as well. So we don't talk about these other scripts, but this build is for the production, test is for testing, and ejects to some kind of complex thing. So let's not talk about that. And yeah, this is all about the npm packages in the environment. And then we have the readme file. So it comes up with the default readme, which contains all the details about the project. So if you want, you can just change that and switch that and add the content that is related to the project. And then we have the yarn log, which is again about the npm. So this yarn is again another npm, another package manager, just like npm. Yarn is by Facebook and npm is by Microsoft. So if you use yarn or if you want to use npm, so both will do the job. So this actually saves the versions for your package, and yeah, this contains other data about the package that you currently installed in the folder. And now talk about the source, which is the main folder. So here we have just the simple app.css, app.js. So this is this is the React application. So I will come back to that again in a while. So let's first explore all the other files. So this is the testing file. So it contains the test. We have another index.css which contains the CSS, index.cs which contains this JavaScript, and it is React.js, and then we have SVG. We have some web writer related content, and then setup test. So let's try to do some cleaning here and remove the files that we don't need. So I am going to remove these files. And so I deleted some file, and now let's make sure that our app still works fine. And it does not. So we need to remove this. Search for this where it exists, and yeah. So let me also comment this. I'm going to remove it, and also remove it from here. And it will work now. That is one basic React application with after removing some of the files that we don't need. Now let's come back to the slides, and so now let's talk about the class and the functional components. So class and the functional components are the most basic concept of React.js. So you need to understand this because without understanding this, you will not be able to work with React. So let's understand what exactly is that. So let me close this. Yep. So this is a functional component here, and what I mean by functional component is that a function that contains some HTML content. So that is a functional component. So this is not actually a HTML content. This is called JSX. So JSX is almost HTML, but that is not HTML. So it has other things are familiar to you because it looks like HTML, but it is not HTML. So it needs to be converted to HTML, but it looks like HTML. So we have the div, we have the header, we have the img, the p tag, a tag. So it's other. So whatever you return here, that will be printed. So this is a functional component. So we have also a class component, and class components looks like something like this. But before I make a class, I show a class component. Let's try to make some changes here. So let's remove most of the things here, and let's actually remove everything and just add a simple p tag. This is a class component, sorry, a functional component, because this is a function. And now let's see how our app looks like. And you can see now this is a functional component. And so this is a functional component. Now the class component looks like something like this. So extends React, and this React needs to be imported here. Import React from React, and so this is just a normal JavaScript class, but which has this function which return, and here let's copy this and paste it here and save it, and this. Now let's start to change this. So this is a class component. Now let's see how our app looks like, and let's refresh it. So I actually need to also import another component, another file, and I need to extend it using the component, not the React. So now if I refresh, you can see now this is a class component. So this is how you can make a functional component, and this is how you can make a class component. Now you might be thinking, what is the difference between these two, and why we have these two? So there is some difference, and we will talk about that when we come to the state and props. But just to give you an idea, functional component has the props, while class component has the states. And what is the difference between that is, so in class component, you can actually make this, which is called states, and give them a value. So type, and this is class. So now to use that, you can do this dot state dot type. So I know this is confusing and you might not get it, but I will explain that in just a second. And you can see it right again. So this is a class component. So we actually have these states, and these states are used to save the data. So for example, if you want to save some like the theme, like for example, if it is a white theme or if it is a black theme, so you can use that here. If you want to check if the pop-up is open or if it is closed, things like this. So you can use this group of states for that. In functional component, initially when React was created, it does not have any way to store the states because it does not support any states. The only thing it supported was the props, but I will come back to that props later. But to give you an idea, so classes contain these states, whereas these function doesn't contain these states. However, now it has one other thing that is known as hooks. But again, that is another complex thing, so I will not talk about that. But the classes contain states, where the function does not contain any states. It has the properties, which means that you need to pass the states from here, from the class to the functions, and then it will use those properties. So once you pass something from the class component to a functional component, so in the function, that is called property. So that means that properties are things that it fetch from some other class component. So I will talk about that, I promise. But this is the general idea. So let's remove this for now, and let's go with this one. So let's comment this. now we are talking about what is a class component and what is a functional component. Now, how to make event crystals. So let's get back to the function. And so, for example, I have a button here. So again, I need to do this in the class component, because this might get complex if I do it in the function. So I'm going to open this, and let's make a counter here, which is initially 1, and I am going to make a button here, which on tapping that button, the counter will increase. So this dot state dot counter, and then I have a button. Okay, so I have the simple UI which says the click me and the counter 1. So this is supposed, like, whenever I tap on the click me button, it is supposed to increase this 1. So for that, I need an event crystal. So how we can do that is that I need to create a function here. So increase counter, and add some logic here, which will increment this counter. So to do that, whenever you want to make some change to the state, you can do something like this dot state dot counter equals to 2 plus equals to 1. This is not how you're supposed to. So actually, because this is something that you need to change asynchronously, so React provides you a function that is known as set state. So here you need to do this dot set state, and then pass in object where you can do counter, and let's actually take this counter here. So count, and this dot state dot counter. So it is showing the current value, and then we will do count, and this will be actually +1. So every time this function is called, it will take the value of the counter, add 1 to that, and then update the counter. So this is our asynchronous function. So now here what we need to do is that we need to just type on click, and then pass that function name. So that is increase counter. So this dot increase counter, and remember, we don't need to add these parentheses here. So if you do that, that will be called once this app is loaded, and it will not call that again and again when you tap that button. So you just need to pass that without using those parentheses. Now let's save that. Let's get back to the application. Reload it, and now let's see. So yep, it gives me an error, and that says that this dot state is not defined. So this is weird. Just a second. What we can do is that we can go with this if this works. Yep. And yeah, so the reason that it was not working was we were using this function instead of this function. So these are both two different functions. So here this dot state means this state, but in that previous method, like in this function, this means this is not defined. So this will not target this app dot state. Like this dot state will not work here. So this is something to do with how this works. So this keyword. So that is why we need to go with this method, which is in ESX function. So now this dot state means this state, and I can actually show you that here. So console.log this and save it, and now let's get back here. And if I do click me, and you can see this, I have this app which is that function, but if I switch back to this method and refresh this, and now try to tap on click me, it says undefined, and that is because we are using this function. So that is not how you are supposed to do it. You need to use these functions, which are ESX function. So now if I click on this click me button, it will keep increasing the counter. So that is how states work, and that is how event resistance works. So you can make any event like this. So this is just for the increase. You can also make for the decrease, and that will be almost the same logic. You just need to add this minus here, and that will increase that will decrease it. So this is just an event listener where you can do this on click here. So we have also this other functions like other event listener that you have in the HTML. We have those here. So this on click is actually available in HTML. So that is also available here. So you can do that here. You can see this here on about capture. So these are all the functions. So you can use any function you want to use. So that is how you can use the functions, and that is how you can create an event business. Now let's talk about state and props, and let's try to make this app a little bit more complex. So what I am going to do is that I am going to make a simple kind of to-do application, and while making that, I will show you how you can make what is the difference between state and props, and how you can what exactly are props. So let's make an array which will be items, and here what I am going to do is that so items, and then this will be this dot state dot items dot map. So this map is ESX function which is available in JavaScript. So this is not a React function. This is actually something that has to do with just the JavaScript. So now item, and if you don't get this, so I will explain this in just a second. This does not work. And yeah, so what is going on is that let's try to remove this. I have these items, and let's go with some static content, like some hard content. So if I switch back and that's the page. Oops. So let's go with again some static content, and so I am doing some mistake with the brackets. So now let's switch that to items. Actually, it is item, not items. I'm making a lot of typos. Okay, so you can see items which are cat food, milk, and Milo, and they are printed on each separate line. And the reason for that is, so I have this array which contains cat food, milk, and Milo. So what I'm doing is that I am iterating over this whole array, which is this method. So map means to iterate over all of these objects. So item is an array and I'm trying to iterate over it. So each of the index is called item. So when it is checking this index, so this item is equal to cat food. So I am just making, I'm trying to print that using p tag, and inside that p tag I have the cat food. Now in the next time it prints this milk, then the next time it prints the mango. So that is how it works, and that is how it prints the content. So if I add something or remove something from here, now the hello will also be showed there. So you can see it here, hello. So that is like how you can print multiple things here. So now we have the items here. Now we are going to create a button. So let me remove this, and now I'm going to create an input where we will type something, and on tapping the button it will add that to this array, and it will show it in the list. And then I will talk about the props. So let's make an input, and the placeholder for this is item, enter item, and we again need to have another event register, and that will be for the item. So that one is item, so we need to have input item. That is to get the value from the user. So this input item will be the value that we need to get from the user. So here on change, actually the value will be equal to this.state.input. So this is the value of that. And whenever we make some changes here, whenever we make some changes on this input, we are going to call a function, and that function will be this function. So inside this function, we are going to update this value of this input element. So the way we are going to do that is that we are going to use this set state. So this dot set state, and one more thing is that, so we have to also pass this e, which means this e refers to this input element. So the updated content is located in e.target.value. So we just need to do input item equals to e.target.value. So let me confirm if that works. Let me copy that and console it, and then we will do this. So set type here. Unchanged input is not being fine. We need to do this dot onChange input. So whenever you are working on in the classes, you need to use this keyword everywhere. If you are working with the functions, you don't need that. Let me stick that to the bottom, and now let's see. So you can see if I'm typing something, that is printing here. So we are getting just the one value because the value, this value is equal to this .state.input. So whenever you type something, it updates, but that the value is equal to this input element, which is again empty. So you just need to add this input element item equals to e.target.value. So that will be again updated every single time. And now let's see this here. You can see I can add any item here. Now the next thing we need to do is that whenever we tap on this button, it will be moved to the items again, and which means that it will be listed here. So for that we just need to make another event reference. So that will be add item, and this one is again a pretty basic event reference. So what we are going to do is that we need this. Let's create another items here, and this item will be this dot state dot items plus one other item, and That other item is input item, which we get from this .state.item. So this means that to get all the elements from this item, which is cat, food, milk, Milo, hello, and then comma the new item, which will be from this item. So this is the updated items. So what we are going to do is that after getting the new item, we just need to remove that content from the input element and update the stats items. So like this. So if this and this both are equal, both names are the same, so we can just remove the second one, and that will also work for us. So now if I switch back here and I refresh the page, so let's type it React.js workshop and tap on that, and then did not work. And the reason for that is we did not add this function here on this onClick. So we just need to update this one, and this will hopefully work now. You can see here it updated here, and it also. So what happens here is that when I tap on this click me button, what happens behind the scene is that it changes the state here at this state, and once that changes state, it again print this whole content. It refreshed the page for you, but it just refreshed this content. So if you have like multiple things, and if it is just one piece of your code, if it is one piece of your page, so the other content will not be changed. It will be there, it will not be touched. Just this one piece of the page will be refreshed for you. So in this way, you don't need to refresh the whole page. You just refresh the place where you updated the content. So that is how it works in the backend. So let's try to divide this, and let's try to talk about now properties. So imagine this is like a complex component, and we like this file gets like a lot of complex, and it has like 1,000 lines of code, and we want to refactor it. So let's create a new file here with the name items.js. So this item.js will contain just this line of code, right, for these items. So for that, we will go back here, and we will import React from React, and I'll make a simple function that is items, and return. Let's start with hello world, and export this. So export default items, and now import this in this app.js. So import items from items. Let's copy this, and let's for a while let's comment this, and so this is how you can make a custom component which we just created. So this component is custom, and you can use it anywhere you want to use. So you can use it in this file, you can also use it in this file right here. So that is now a reusable component. So that is what I mean by reusable component when I talk in the starting. And now if I go back to my page, you can see this hello world. So now what I can do is that I can shift this code to that items here. So let's uncomment this code, copy this, and paste it here. So now we have the items, which will be this.state.map, and then each item. Now if I go here, you will see nothing here, and so this is not okay. And the reason for that is here this .state is undefined. because this dot state exists in this file here, but not in this file here. So now the way to do that is to use the props, which are the properties. So just like a normal function where you pass the arguments, we are going to pass the arguments here in these items, and that will help us. So and also we need to pass this actually. Yeah. And now you might see some bug here as well. Yeah. Now you can see this dot state is undefined, and that is actually referring to this state. So to fix that, we will be using props. So props are something that we use in the function. So we need to have these items in this item. So what we can do is that we can just copy this, and here items equals to this dot state stack dot item. So we are passing these items into these items, and here we can do this props. So whatever we pass that is available in this props object. So this props is an object. So now we can just do props dot items, and we don't need this. So now if I refresh the page, you can see now it works here. So now if I add something here, React.js workshop, add it, and now it is working perfect. Now again, to repeat this, this items is this dot state dot items. I can also change the name to whatever I want. For example, if I change that to do, I need to also change this here as well. So props dot to do. So this props is an object. So whatever you pass here in this component, so it can also be some constant thing, like some hard coded. So for example, like this. So that will be also available. Let me show you that as well. So props are str, and you can see this another header, that is props.str. So this props is an object which contains all the arguments that you passed from your class components, which is here to do this dot state dot item. So that is how the properties works, how the props work in the class, in the functional components. And yep, that was all from me. If anyone has any question, please ask.
Awesome. Before we jump to the Q&A session, let me stop the recording before my laptop hangs.